Let's go to the USA now. We've got Kinsey Schofield there this morning. All about Prince Harry's visa documents, which we have been debating. What is in them? Did, you know, the fact that he's talked about consuming drugs in his autobiography, did he declare that when applying for US citizenship? What do you know?
That's still a mystery. The Heritage Foundation lawyer Samuel Dewey has said that there are hints indicating Prince Harry lied and didn't divulge that he used drugs when he applied to move to the United States, likely on an O-1 visa reserved for people of exceptional talent or ability and filed with the State Department. Dewey says the key information may be at state, and if that's the case, it gives the Heritage Foundation some insight into what happened there, while people like myself combed through this and thought, what is this? There were so many redacted pages. Heritage Foundation says they have a pretty clear picture of Prince Harry's immigration journey with the O-1 visa, typically submitted by a sponsor. In this case, the Heritage Foundation suspects it was likely one of Harry's foundations, which would have argued for his admittance based on, you know, fundraising or some other exceptional talent. I know Nana has some commentary there, but Samuel Dewey explained that if Prince Harry admitted to taking drugs, that information would have ended up on a file known as the DS-160 and sent straight to the Department of Homeland Security. But if he withheld that info, that visa paperwork would have never ended up in its entirety in the DHS file and would have stayed with the State Department.
So basically, all of this is his own stupid fault. If he hadn't have written that ridiculous memoir and divulged so much information that he thought was kind of cool, and some of it just is unspeakable, like, what's that cream that, let's not talk about that. But if he hadn't done any of that, he would probably be fine about it right now. Nobody would be interested at all, pretty much.
And, you know, the worst part is this is not over, because the Heritage Foundation claims the hearing transcripts and statements filed on Tuesday are proof of DHS and State Department officials withholding information from the Heritage Foundation, as well as from D.C. U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols. I spoke to an attorney who has sat in the courtrooms through some of these hearings and spoken to the parties involved, and he believes that Heritage will appeal, and this document gives them enough ammunition to properly argue their case going forward.
But as you've outlined it there, just so I understand it, the presidency or the State Department or whatever can actually say, even if you did take drugs, even if you have admitted to this and whatever, we can still access you to the country, we can still allow this to happen because you're an exceptional individual.
Well, I think that if he is an exceptional individual, I don't think that that means he's still allowed to take drugs. I think that there would be some special treatment involved there if that were the case. The Heritage Foundation firmly believes, based on the documents that they saw, that he did not include that information in his paperwork. But they believe there's real protection surrounding how he entered the country. And they believe that it's through the O-1 visa, which would mean Prince Harry was special in some way, and that's why he would gain access.
Interesting. Are you disappointed by what hasn't been revealed?
Hey, you know what, Eamon? Prince Harry keeps me busy. These highlights are expensive. So if Prince Harry wants to continue to act the fool, God love him.
And what about Meghan and her
green pancakes?
Green waffles. Somebody said, the lady who was here earlier, Lauren, she said that it's clear from the way the waffle appeared that actually it hadn't been made, the thing hadn't been made in a waffle maker at all, and that Meghan is, well, again, not really, you know, she didn't really do all that.
I mean, can you believe that was headline news over here? All the major blogs, that there weren't the correct creases based on the waffle maker you see versus the actual waffles themselves. That was headline news over here, that Meghan was grifting again. And what's the point? I think that if you're a cynical person like myself, you suspect that Meghan's trying to distract from the Princess of Wales, you know, adorable return with her beer in her her hand and looking absolutely gorgeous on St. Patrick's Day. But maybe she just wanted to share some hideous waffles. I don't know. Didn't see the value in it.
They look radioactive, if you ask me. Charlotte, I suppose I said deport him for what? Because we didn't learn much from revelations of this document, did we?
I know I'm none the wiser about whether he ticked that box. And I was expecting a heavy redaction, but I was hoping they would redact everything but that one question. And I could not believe that bit got redacted as well. Shocking.
Just literally no point to it. Jack Stooks, your thoughts?
Right. I don't think that he should be deported. I mean, he's married to an American. As we know, he's been there for a great deal of time now. They've got a family. He's bringing money into the US, you know, with all the deals that he's doing there. So I don't see why Trump will suddenly go, oh, let's deport him. It just makes no logical sense.
Well, except, Jack, there's either a rule or there's not a rule. You know, you're either allowed to take drugs illegally or you're not.
Completely, and I get it, you know, he wrote this in his book, but it's not like Prince Harry is the only person in America that's taken whatever drugs that he might have taken. I mean,
that's not the point, is it? If you or I admitted that we'd taken drugs, or it was found that we had, and then we had lied on our forms, we'd be deported super sharpish, wouldn't we? So why should he get any special treatment, Charlotte?
Well, listen, if I was Kate Moss, I'd be pretty annoyed right now. Kate Moss was caught apparently snorting lines of white powder in 2005. She was then pictured 13 years later applying for a US visa. She was a model working, bringing money into, you know, she could have been very successful in New York Fashion Week, bringing money into the country, into the US. And it really damaged her career, but she knew she couldn't apply for a visa because it had been in the public domain that she had dabbled in drugs. And the same for Amy Winehouse, a bit more of an extreme example, but Amy Winehouse had to accept her Grammy from a video link from the UK. And the reason is because it was in the public domain that they had been using drugs. Now, Harry's drug use is now in the public domain by his own admission. But the difference is he didn't dare bring out that book Spare before he'd actually safely arrived in the US. That it was only once he was in that he released the book. And it wasn't, you know, I know Amy Winehouse is a very extreme and tragic example, but Harry does detail quite extensive drug use in Spare. You know, he said he hallucinated that a loo seat was talking to him. And, you know, it's not like he said he tried it once or twice. He's quite explicit that he used a lot of drugs for a long time, especially marijuana.
Charlotte, there's a couple of documents, obviously, which have been heavily redacted. This one on Harry and the one dealing with President Kennedy and his assassination as well. So Donald Trump's all very good at saying, yeah, we're open, we're free, you can have anything, you can read anything. Would he have known the Harry document would have been heavily redacted?
It's an interesting question. I think it's very interesting that the judge had previously said, I'm not going to release it at all, and then did a dramatic U-turn. And I do wonder whether that was Trump's influence, because he's a Trump sort of affiliate. I think he probably did know it would be quite a lot redacted, but I think he probably thought that no question would be answered. However, it is kind of embarrassing for the US as well, if he seemed to have lied and been allowed to stay. And then it would have put Trump in a really difficult position, because Trump probably would have had to deport him. And actually, before Trump met with Prince William at Notre Dame a few weeks ago, he was saying things along the lines of, I'd probably deport him. Then he suddenly changed his tune after meeting Prince William and said he's got enough problems on his plate with his difficult wife, which was quite a controversial thing to say in the first place. But I do wonder, I actually really do wonder whether Prince William had a word in his ear and said, look, you can keep him. Don't send him back. It will make his life not worth living, because, of course, he wouldn't see his kids. There's no chance Meghan would ever come over here again. So I just wonder whether actually it sort of suits Donald Trump to sort of show off and say, I'm going to do this, that and the other. But really, in reality, he's not cool enough to separate a man from his family.
Jack, just finally, how would you sum the man up? You know him. Do you think he's a risk to public morality?
I don't think so. I mean, we all knew Harry in the sense that he was a great fun person to have around. And, you know, early days, there was great reports about him. He was always sort of the one that ended up doing the things that probably he shouldn't have been doing, but everyone loved him for it. And you know, that is the side of Harry that I got to know and see. And he is a lovely person. He's not the kind of person that sort of stands on the side while you do the work. He's very much let's get involved and help everybody get this done. He's that kind of person. He's that natured person. So he's a lovely person, and I know it's been unfortunate with the negative press that he's had since the books come out and since his marriage, but he is deep down a great person.
Well, you're two great people. Thank you for taking part in this, Charlotte and Jack. Appreciate talking to you both this morning. Thank you very much indeed.